Hey everybody, Samwise here, and I'm here at my altar today to talk about the meditation of the month with Cal Poppy, which is from Lama Rod Owens' book Love and Rage, and it's an acronym called SNOELL, which is a really great tool for being with what is arising for us, for reconnecting to ourselves and just kind of sensing into, what's real for us. So it's an acronym, and I'll kind of run through the acronym, like what it means, and then I'll lead a little mini practice if you want to practice with me. So SNOELL, so the first letter S stands for see or sense. So we're like finding a moment to ourselves just to kind of sense into our bodies and our spirits and our mind, taking a moment just to sense like what is arising. I know for me, something that comes up a lot is anxiety and all the things that I need to do and all the threads of all the things. And so when I'm practicing with this tool, I'll take a moment just kind of like to sense into my being for what is here. Oftentimes that's like a bodily experience. If I'm experiencing anxiety, it'll usually be like kind of a tightness around my heart or like a constriction in my belly. And so when I'm practicing with SNOELL, the first step is just to sense into that. You're like, okay, tightness. I'm experiencing tightness. Like tightness is here. The second letter is name. So as I'm experiencing, like sensing this tightness around my heart and in my belly, I can name that as anxiety because I've kind of worked with it before. I'm like, oh yes, I recognize this as anxiety. So I can take a moment to be like, in my experience, in my sensing of that, be like, this is anxiety. The third letter is own. So as I'm experiencing sensing the sensation, naming it as anxiety, I'm also taking a moment to own it, that it's my anxiety and not like someone else's anxiety. That can be confusing sometimes in relationship or in the world where, it's common to project. I catch myself projecting frequently. So this tool and this step of owning is really important to be like, not necessarily like we're identifying with the emotion. Like I am anxiety. That's not kind of what we're going for. It's more like this is my experience. I am currently experiencing anxiety. This is my anxiety. And then the next letter is experience, which is kind of the hard one sometimes. I mean, that can be, everyone can have different experiences of all of these steps, but for me, that's kind of the one that I need to practice with the most, is just experiencing the emotion, the sensation, whatever it is. So in my case, it's anxiety in this example. And I, when I'm experiencing it, when I'm like, okay, noticing sensation, like sensing, I'm naming it, it's anxiety, owning it, it's my anxiety, or like this is in my experience. Then I open to it. I often experience it as like screaming in my being, like as I'm, opening to experiencing whatever it is, like in my own brain, like in my own experience, it's just like, and that's me experiencing it. And what I notice is there's the anxiety that I'm experiencing, the tensing, the worry, the tightness, the coiled energy of anxiety that's like getting ready to do a bunch of things. And then there's my reacting to that anxiety of like, oh my God, like kind of fear in reacting to that anxiety, hence the screaming in my own being. And what I notice is that the longer I'm able to like stay in this experiencing space of like, I'm just trying to experience this emotion, I'm experiencing my reaction to that as well. And that changes over time. Sometimes it can like lessen, like sometimes the screaming is just screaming, or it's just loud, or it's just whatever it is, you know, and that's what it is. And sometimes it changes over time as I stay with the experience. And yeah, that the screaming can get softer, it can get, and then it can just kind of be like, okay, like, you know, my reaction is kind of like lessening, and then there's still, you know, just kind of the core experience of like anxiety or anticipation or like whatever that is. So I try to stay in experiencing as long as I can. That's like where my growth edge is to really try to be with whatever is present. And it's kind of like titration, you know, like I'm not going to beat myself up for not being able to be with it for a long time. And I'm with it as long as I can. And I know that I'm practicing, and that, you know, that capacity gets stronger over time. When I'm done with it, I move into the first L of SNOELL, which is let float, which is kind of like, I'm not holding as tight, or I'm not gripping as much on the experience or trying to put as much effort into staying with the experience. I'm kind of just letting it float in my experience. And also like noticing other aspects of my experience as well. So that might be like, you know, I'm kind of letting my anxiety kind of float, like sit next to me, whatever. And I'm also noticing like, you know, sounds like, you know, cicadas or the wind. I'm also noticing like the temperature of the air on my skin. So I'm kind of like taking in other aspects of my experience, and also like letting this other, you know, what I was focusing on also exist in kind of like a floating way. And then finally, the last L of SNOELL, since there's two, is to let go. And so that can look like letting the experience kind of pass out of or through my awareness, kind of like clouds across the sky. And yeah, I think it's good to practice also, you know, focusing on an aspect of our experience and also allowing that, you know, sensation or focus to pass out of our awareness. So yeah, that's SNOELL. Lama Rod's book, Love and Rage, does a wonderful job of like exploring this in more detail. I really recommend you buy that book and check it out, or get it from the library. Yeah, I learned a lot from him as a teacher, and I'm really grateful for this tool. I use it a lot, kind of when I just need to check in with myself. So the last meditation of the month for planting was Resmaa Menakem's 5 Anchors. And that one is similar and also really great for, you know, exploring our experience. And I tend to use that one when I'm really activated. And I can use SNOELL when I'm activated as well. And I also tend to use it when I'm not as activated. It's kind of like a regular check-in. So you can use it however you'd like. I hope that's helpful for you. So briefly before we end this recording, I'm going to invite you to practice with me. So maybe sitting back, relaxing so our nervous system knows it's time to sensing into wherever our body is making contact with the earth. Taking a grounding breath or two. We practice connecting to ourselves in the spirit of Cow Poppy, just sensing what is here in our beings. Maybe taking a moment to check in with our bodies. Just sensing. And if you notice a particular sensation that you know to be connected to an emotion or a phenomenon, maybe we can practice naming that. And that can look different for lots of folks. And we can name also calm, settledness, ease, whatever is arising for you. And as we name it, we can practice owning that experience as ours. And this is my anxiety. And this is my settledness. Whatever is arising for you. And as we name it and own it, we can practice just experiencing it. What is it like to open to experiencing the sensation? Maybe it's loud or intense at first. We're just trying to stay with the experience of whatever is arising for you. If your mind wanders or become distracted, no problem. Gently guide yourself back to just experiencing whatever is arising for you. As we practice experiencing, giving yourself as much time as you need to, pausing this video if you need to. And when we're feeling complete in our experiencing, we can let this experience just float in our awareness, perhaps bringing in other aspects of our experience in our awareness. The quality of the air on the skin, sounds or other sensations in your awareness. And when you're ready, letting the experience that you are practicing with go like a cloud across the sky or water in a stream. Whenever you're ready, coming back to your experience of the world around you, opening your eyes, maybe looking around or behind you, and just taking a moment to appreciate the practice that you're doing. Thanks for practicing with me. Hope that's helpful as a resource for folks. Again, Lama Rod Owens is a wonderful teacher on this subject. And yeah, thank you for exploring this with me, and thank you for practicing with me in community. It really is some of the most important work that we can do in this lifetime to connect to our bodies, to our experiences, and practice being with that, whatever, intensity or however that is, so that we can grow and show up in ourselves and our communities. So thanks for that. And thank you so much to all of the patrons and supporters and students that make this work possible. I feel grateful to be back home in Ohio after a very big journey full of lots of big lessons, and I'm feeling grateful to be back in my home space with home resources to continue my learning and teaching practice and be able to share with y'all. So looking forward to that. And there's another round of ancestral healing for white folks coming up in the fall that I'm getting ready to like release and promote. So stay tuned for that if you're excited about that, and I'll talk to you soon.